First, we'll be beginning with this question, that why plants and animals need a transportation system. Yes, on this. Why transportation system in plants and animals is necessary? Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Why is it necessary? Yeah, that's a simple question. There are several reasons for requirement of transportation system in plants and animals. Yeah. Like transportation basically means what? To carry something from one place to another. Yeah. Like if there's a requirement of a certain type of good in a place, so it has to be carried to that place, right? That is transportation. Similarly, in case of plants, in case of animals, there's a requirement of transportation of different types of nutrients. Getting it or not? So thereby
Yes,
you
sir.
have got a transportation system. Okay, getting it now. So they are
Yes, sir.
Good
transportation of
evening, sir.
different types. Yeah, Chakrika, good evening. Okay, so we have resumed the same chapter. So we are discussing why there's a need of transportation system in plants and animals. Okay, so both of you add few points to it. Right now we were discussing like just like there's a requirement for transportation of one good from one place to another because there's a need there. In the same manner, in human body, there's a requirement for transportation of nutrients, for example, from one place to another. What other what other reasons could be for transportation of transport requirement of transportation in plants and animals? You also adds few points, Chakrika.
Sir, I didn't get it. Can you repeat again?
How basically you have to answer this question. Okay, like why do we need a transportation system?
Sir, for animals, it's basically the same thing why we need transportation system for, because like we need transportation system for like in the sense there are like how should I say?
Yeah, like just I said, now there's a need for transportation because yeah, Sundas, you were saying something?
Sir, I don't know.
Yeah, Chakrika?
Sir, like I do not know how to explain it properly though.
Okay, look here. We can put it in simple way like this. For example, I need to transport a certain type of good from city A to city B, right? It has to be transported from city A to city B. So thereby, I won't be carrying it in my hands. No, like simply I won't be walking with this good in my hand. Yeah. So thereby we have got a well-developed transport system, right? Like either it
Yes, sir.
could be the railway system, or either you could be taking the roadways for this, or either you could directly fly,
Sir, airways.
airways as well, right? So basically, why you are transporting this good from city A to city B? Because there's a need for this good in city B. Say you are sending it to your friend right now, so it could be good in that case. While in the case of the human body or the animal body or the plant body, what goods they do they require? They require what type of materials? It could be basically different
So
type of
basically
nutritious
nutrients.
substances, nutrients in case of plants and animals both, right?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, if we require it for transportation of nutrients,
Nutrients.
right? Now it could be a
So
different type
then
of nutrients.
oxygen.
Then oxygen
Like
as well.
in plants case, it's carbon dioxide.
Both. In the plant case as well, it's both, not just carbon dioxide. Like in the
Okay, sir.
process, okay, like in the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is produced. Now. So that oxygen is also has to be transported now,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. So nutrients, it could be for oxygen. It could be for carbon dioxide,
So for water,
for water as well. Good. It could be for water. It could be for what? It could be for excreta, right?
so
Basically,
the
the
waste.
waste material produced in the body,
Yes, sir.
right? Then the excreta could be like sweat also,
Yes, sir.
right now. So we get to see that human body or the animal body is in need of certain type of
So but
nutrients.
only animals and human beings produce
Uh,
sweat, right? Not animals. Not
here,
plants.
here we are talking in a general sense. Okay, now in a general sense, we are trying to basically understand why the plants and animals need. Yeah, that is very true. Like the excreta, it is not being produced by the plant. Yeah, it is being produced only by the humans. That is by the animals. That is correct. In a general sense, we get to see both of them requires transportation system in order for transport of nutrients, right? For oxygen, for carbon dioxide, or for water as well. Getting it or not?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, what does plants release?
What do plants release? They release basically carbon dioxide, right
No,
now.
sir. Like for us, it's waste materials, right? So for them also, it should be waste materials.
For us, it's the
Like for animals,
hmm,
the excretory system is like to remove the waste materials from our body, right? So,
exactly.
so even for the plants, there should be an excretory system to remove the waste materials from it. So, like,
Huh.
what are the uh, materials
Mhm.
that are considered as waste
Huh,
and that
I
are
got the question.
excreted?
Look here. In the case of plants now, they basically, in terms of waste materials, if you were to say, there's no waste material being produced in the plant body, right? The plant's body does not produce any waste, basically. Getting it now? Basically, you get to study about transportation of water or minerals or food in the plant body, and then you get to see plants in terms of waste being produced in the body of the plants now. There you get to see like which component which component is not being required by the plant that is produced in their body. For example, if you were to study the process of photosynthesis, their oxygen is released, right?
Yes, sir.
In the process of respiration, in the process of respiration, CO2 is produced. Getting it now? So basically
Yes,
what
sir.
happens, the oxygen that is produced in the process of photosynthesis, okay, it might also be used up for the process of respiration. In respiration there's a breakdown of food using the
Yes,
oxygen,
sir. Yes, sir.
right? While the carbon dioxide that is being produced, if there is lesser availability, suppose there's a plant in an area where lesser amount of carbon dioxide is there, so that carbon dioxide might end up being used by the plant, right? So there's almost no excretion being done by the plant. Getting it now,
Yes, sir.
right? But then I'm not saying that all the carbon dioxide is being used by the plant. Thereby, there are some amount of carbon dioxide is released into the environment also.
Like,
But,
sir,
but
it
as
saves a
compared
bit
to
of
carbon
carbon
dioxide,
dioxide, right?
yeah, it saves a bit of. Also, the thing is that the plant world is also very complex. Yeah, plants are known to grow in a different type of habitats. Yeah, plants grow in the
Yes, sir.
marshy areas as well, they grow in the arid areas as well, right? So depending upon the different geographical features also, the way the plant takes up the nutrients or the or how much they will be releasing carbon dioxide, oxygen, it varies from plants to plants. Getting it now? So oxygen is being released more as compared to the carbon dioxide, we all know that. While the waste, literally it's no waste is being produced by the plants. While the process of transpiration that you study now, so the transpiration plays roles in different manner, right? Transpiration basically generates a suction pull in the plants, thereby the roots are absorbing water and then transporting into the shoot system. It kind of creates suction pull, Getting it now?
Yes, sir. Because like when like the transpiration happens,
Hmm.
like it will get the extra water will get absorbed. Now it will like go upwards to the that thing, so it will
Uh-huh.
get like a push. Yeah.
Exactly. So why the
So,
stomatal pores? Mhm.
transpiration occurs when the plant has like way too much water, right?
No, it's not
Or
in that manner. It's not like the transpiration will happen only if there's a way too much water. For transportation to
I
happen,
mean, like not only, but that is one of the reason maybe.
like if there's a more amount of water in the soil, obviously the transportation rate will be higher. But then we also have to see whether there's availability of sunlight or not, right? Getting it now. So more, if there's availability of more water in
Yes, sir.
the soil and there is sunlight also, so transpiration will be there. Also transpiration, sometimes we confuse it like transpiration is there for the for excretion in plants. No, transpiration is simply the process in which water vapor is lost via the stomatal pores from the plants, and it helps the plant in two ways. First of all, in the summer season especially, it will help the plant to help its body cool down. Second thing, as moments
So,
ago. Mhm.
so as like it is summer season, right? So if
Yep.
we over water the plant, it will transpirate some of the water. I mean, and then it can use some of it, so the plant will not dry, right?
Look here. Also, if you were to see right now, it's the winter season. Yeah. If you were to water the plants right now, and then suppose you have watered the plant today, and then you check the plant the next morning, most probably you will observe the soil is still moist. The soil will be still moist. Why? Because the rate of transpiration has lowered down, especially during the winters, because the sunlight is not there. Getting it now? While in the summer season, the rate of transpiration increases as the sunlight is there. Yeah, Chakrika, were you saying any other thing?
Uh, Sir, I was asking that if we overwater the plants in not like way too much, but
Mm-hmm.
we water the plants in a higher amount in
Mm-hmm.
summertime, especially,
Mm-hmm.
um, it can store some water and then it can transpirate some of the other water. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
basically, it won't dry, right? The
Exactly.
plant.
It won't dry. Also, the thing is now, basically, how the plants are able to take up the water, it's because of the process of transpiration only. If the transpiration does not occur in the plant, then how the different parts of the shoot system will be taking up water? It's like there's a gap. There's a suction pump has to be created so that water will be traveling in the upward direction in the plant, right? And as you said, in the summer season, yeah, if you were to provide plant with sufficient amount of water, so plant will be taking up some amount of water, and also the extra amount of water will be lost by the transpiration as well.
Okay,
Getting
sir.
it now? Okay, so this is basically transpiration, right? So suction pull is being created by the evaporation of water, right? Now, basically we are talking about like why transportation is required in plants and animals. So we saw there are numerous reasons for it. Okay, and for the transportation of these, we have got mainly two different type of systems. One is the circulatory system, where components like the oxygen, carbon dioxide, water, or the nutrients are being transported in the body, especially in terms of animals when we see. While you have the excretory system, right, where the solid and the liquid waste is removed from the body. Okay, now, so first of all, let's do talk about the circulatory system that we have in the case of animals, right? After having discussed about the humans, we will move on to the plants. Okay, so our focus is basically to the human body here. So the organ system of the body that is responsible for the transport of materials throughout the body, that is simply circulatory materials. The materials could be different things, right? It could be the different type of nutrients like the proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, right? Now these could be the different type of nutrients that are being transported to different parts of the body. Then you have like oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. Okay. Second thing, you get to see all these materials are being transported in the human body via the blood, right? So we will also study like how blood is being how blood flows inside the human body, what is the role of heart in it, what are the different type of blood vessels, and then what are the different type of components found inside the blood as well. So these are the things we are going to study. Okay, so first of all, let's to talk about the blood. So when you study about blood, you see it's also a type of tissue. Yeah, like bone is a tissue, muscle is a tissue, right? Now skin is a tissue. So blood is also a tissue, but it is a tissue that is liquid in nature, right? So we say blood is a fluid tissue. Fluid basically refers to anything that is in liquid state. All right now. So blood is a fluid tissue that mainly transports nutrients and oxygen to the cell. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it transports oxygen and nutrients. What other functions are being performed? Like in the cells of the human body, there are different type of waste being produced. For example, carbon dioxide, right now. So carbon dioxide and other wastes that are being produced in the human body or in the cell also, it will be carried away by the blood. So second thing is that it carries away carbon dioxide and other type of waste products in our body. So it carries CO2 from cells and other wastes produced in the body. You guys also add few points about blood. Like in blood, you get to see there are different type of cells. You all might have heard of white blood cells, red
Yes,
blood
sir.
cells.
White blood cells and red blood cells.
Yes,
So
and
here,
white blood cells has a functions there, right? It like a fight against the infection that are like in our body.
exactly. So when you will studying about white blood cells, we'll be talking about their functions in detail. Like uh, it kills the germs. Right now, they are like the soldiers in the human body that helps to kill the germs and thereby improves the immune of the human body. So different type of cells are there and all have got different functions to perform. So there is white blood cell, there are red blood cells, there are platelets also, right? And then there's a uh, medium in which all these cells are flowing, that is the plasma. We will understand about that also, right? And then the blood vessels are also of two
Sir,
types,
plasma is
that
like
also.
a yellow color kind of fluid, right?
Plasma plasma is basically, no, you are referring to the serum. Okay, plasma is basically the liquid component of the blood, as I see, in which the all the blood cells are basically suspended in it, right? It is almost 90 the blood is almost 95% made up of plasma. Okay, so in blood 95% is the plasma. Okay, and the liquid thing you were saying, that is all. If you were not to remove, yeah, Chakrika, if you were to remove the red blood cells, platelets, or the white blood cells, right, then you will be left with a yellowish color liquid like this. See this image, this one over here. See, that's uh
Sir, how do we
blood
get it
sample
again?
here. Yeah, how
Like,
do
how
we
do we get it?
how do we get it? How do we get the plasma? to get the plasma, there are
Like,
different
sir, how do you
processes.
get the plasma out of the red blood cells?
How do we get the plasma out of the? How do we basically separate the different type of cells from the blood and then get the plasma? That should be the question. So to get the plasma, there are different processes. For example, one of the process involved in it is the process of centrifugation. Okay. So don't worry, when we will come to the plasma, we will be discussing on the processes also. Okay. What are
Okay,
the
sir.
processes involved in that as well? Okay. So now you know, like there are different type of components found in the blood. Okay now. So blood is basically a fluid tissue that are transporting different type of components. Now, as we saw, there are different type of cells. What were the different type of cells, by the way?
Sir, red blood cells and white blood cells.
There were
And
platelets
platelets.
also. Yeah. So RBC, that is red blood cells, and the white blood cells, and then you have got the
Platelets.
platelets. Platelets also. There are some other components also, but as of now, you have to just know about red blood cells, white blood cells, and the platelets also. Okay, now, like there is serum also. There are other cells also in it, but just
Sir,
you
what
have
about
to study
plasma?
about it. Plasma is not a cell. Cells, we are talking about different type of
No, sir,
cells
like,
found.
will we learn about it?
We will be learning about that also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, red blood cells are known by other name also. So, other name for red blood cells are what? Anyone who knows about it? What is the other name of a?
Something like anthrocrips, I like that.
It starts with E.
Yeah,
It's the
it's like an
erythrocytes.
in. Yeah, I know it, but like
Okay.
I got
Okay. Okay.
confused.
Okay. No issue. No issue. See, in this now, erythro. Erythro basically means red, and cyte means cell. Hence, erythrocyte. Getting it or not? Okay. So
Yes, sir.
do remember
Yes,
this
sir.
thing. Okay, while you will be answering, you could mention this extra point. While WBC, okay, white blood cells, okay, RBC, sometimes it is written as RBCS, WBCS, right, red blood cells, white blood cells, like that. Okay, so here it is called as leukocytes. It is called as leukocytes. The spelling is LEUKOCYTES. Getting it or not? Okay. So
Yes.
these are the white blood cells, also known as leukocytes, and they protect you against different type of diseases. Okay. Also, anyone who knows about the function of the platelets, or what are other names of
I
platelets?
know this function of platelet. Like it helps in the clotting of blood, right?
Correct. Hmm?
Because if we do not have platelets, then we will bleed to death.
Exactly. If the blood clotting does not happen, then you will basically bleed. Basically, no.
Sir,
It will blood will continue to ooze out from the wounds. Yeah, Chikrika.
sir, I've heard that if there are less platelets in our body, they can like transfer from like one person to another, right?
Exactly. If
So
there's a
like,
deficiency of platelets in a
how
patient, it can be diffused into the blood of that person. Yeah.
how does it happen? Like, how does the platelets decrease?
How does the platelet basically decreases? Basically, what happens if the person is infected with a virus, for example, dengue virus, for example, right? So thereby the platelet count will be decreasing. Okay, usually, if the platelet count is more than 1.5 lakh, that is considered as a normal count of platelet in the body. Right now, platelets, by the way, they are also in the form of they do look in the form of they are also a type of cells, basically, right? Okay, so if their count increases, thereby what will happen? The person's ability to fight with the disease, that will also decrease down. Getting it now? Also,
Yeah, I think they have a lifespan of 10 days, right?
They have a lifespan of 10 days.
10 days.
Huh. They are different. I suppose platelets has got a lifespan of more than 10 days, not just 10 days. It's somewhere around, I think, 10 to 15 days, I think. Okay, now.
Sir, I didn't get it. What are you talking about?
Lifespan of cell. Okay. Like different
So
components of
basically,
Hmm.
the cells in our body only survive for like 10 days,
not
10 to
not every
15 days.
not every type of cells. There are different type of cells which has got different lifespan. Like bones have got the longest lifespan. Okay, now if you
Okay,
were to talk about the skin cells, okay, they also don't have got a much longer lifespan, right? Skin regularly sheds away. Yeah. So like the most of the dirt that you see in the bed sheet, what is that basically? Bed sheet, when the bedsheet becomes dirty, the maximum amount of dirt on the bedsheet, it's basically the dead skin. Yeah, getting it or not? What I'm saying?
so can you repeat the question?
Yeah, basically the dirt that you see on the bedsheet. Okay, so that dirt in the bedsheet also consists of the dead cells from our skin. Okay, getting it or not? Yeah, that also
Yes, sir.
consists of dead cells. Okay, now let's do talk about each of them in detail. So first of all, you have got the plasma. Okay, so plasma is a liquid part of the blood. Okay, it is a very liquid. Let's mention this also. Okay, plasma. Right now we are talking about plasma. Then we will move on to the later components. Okay, so it is the sticky liquid part of the blood, and as Chakrika was saying, it's pale yellow in color. Okay, 90 to 95% water is present in it, and around 3 to 3.5% of salt is found in the plasma. Okay, what type of salt is found in it? Common salt, right? The salt that we use. Okay, now it will be consisting of different type of components. Yeah, like the food that is digested food will be found in it right now, and digested food will be found in the plasma, and then it will be transported from one part of the body to another part of the body. Okay, and as you were seeing, like how it yeah, like how it's basically being transported from what do you say, how it is being diffused into the blood of the person. For example, if a person is having deficiency of um yeah, that was regarding the platelets actually, sorry. So as we were talking about plasma, it is a sticky liquid part of blood. Do note this things down. Okay, have you guys been taking notes of the classes or not? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Chakrika, you have you been taking notes of the class or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So it's a sticky liquid part. 90 to 95% water is found in the plasma. Second thing is that around 3 to 3.5%, 3 to 3.5% is common salt. What is the formula of common salt, by the way? What is the chemical name of
Sir,
common
NaCl,
salt? NaCl. Okay. In terms of what that is called as
sodium chloride.
sodium chloride. Very good. So that is sodium chloride. Now let's understand the interesting part about the plasma, how it is obtained. How it is obtained. Like in the hospitals, basically, people do donate plasma also, right now. Not just the platelets, but the plasma is also donated, right now. So we will understand like the how. platelets are also donated, and how plasma is also donated basically. While we were discussing that, we will understand how it is. First, it has to be
Can you go to the previous slide?
this one. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I can continue.
Okay.
Sir, what is the name of the white blood cells again?
Which one?
The name of the white blood cells? Leukocytes or
Leukocytes. Leukocytes.
Leukocytes.
Yeah. Okay. It's LEUKO. Then
Okay, sir.
sites. Okay. Now look here. There's a process of centrifugation. Centrifugation, first of all, understand what is centrifugation. Like the mixer grinder that we use in the kitchen, that is used in the kitchen, yeah. So when you run the mixer grinder, so thereby you get to see the spices sticks on the wall of the inner surface of the grinder. Getting it now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You guys getting the concept of centrifugation or not? Like you have got a grinder like this, you will rotate it basically, and then the components of it basically stick onto the walls of the grinder. So that is how basically the mechanism of centrifugation also works. You rotate, you take something in a basically beaker. Okay, you will rotate it very high speed, then you will be separating certain components out of it, right? So in a test tube like this, you will take a sample of blood. In a test tube, a sample of blood is taken,
Yes,
and
sir.
then
I've seen how they do it. Like there's a machine which spins around the
exactly.
beakers,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
Which
Exactly,
contains different tubes.
exactly. It's like this. You have got a machine like this, okay, and there are holes made into the machine where you can be putting the test tube. So we will be inserting the test tube in it and then close the lid of the machine right now. So for like after 10 to 15 minutes, when the machine is being run, then you get to see the plasma will be separated from the blood. Getting it, Sundus? Chakrika? So this is how
Yes,
plasma
sir.
is separated from the blood. So remember the process of centrifugation. So to separate plasma, centrifugation is done. Okay. Also, like how you get to see now, like the traditional way of separation of um, ghee from milk. You all know about ghee, yeah? Okay. So
Yes.
right now, the fat from fat in the milk. So how
Yes, sir.
traditionally it was separated, right? So you had a, uh
Turning.
churning process of churning, exactly. So how milk is churned in order to separate the fat from it, right? So it is basically being rolled like this, and thereby the fat is separated. Getting it now? So it's the same manner. It's also the process of centrifugation actually, right? Okay, now hope it is clear. After plasma, you have got the white blood cells. Okay, so white blood cells, as you guys know, they are the part of the immune system of the human body, right? They are like the soldiers who fight against the germs, right? So the white
Yes.
blood cells, okay, fight against infection. Okay, so if there's a fungal infection, if there's a bacterial infection, or if there's a viral infection, the white blood cells are there to protect you from the diseases. Yeah, so mainly it will be impacting the bacteria only. Yeah, how do they do? How do they protect us? They basically eat up the germs. Yeah, getting it now. So the white blood cells eats the germs like the bacterias, right? Now white blood cells also they make antibodies that fight against infection. The white blood cells, what do? They will be making antibodies that will be fighting against infection. See, what happens whenever the human body catches a disease? For example, if the human body catches a smallpox virus, everyone pay attention here. If the human body produces smallpox, or say if it catches any kind of other disease, so what will happen? Once the human body has recovered from that disease, now the white blood cells would have already prepared antibodies now. So the next time when the body will be infected with the smallpox virus or the different type of diseases, the body would fight better now. So thereby the person will not fall sick again with that much of severity. So basically what happens
Can you
once
repeat?
there's a, yeah, sure, I'm about to repeat that. So once there's a foreign body invasion, okay, once there's a infection, so thereby what happens now? The white blood cells will be making antibodies. See, there's a bacterial infection, for example, bacterial infection. So that is a foreign body now. Yeah. So that is a foreign body to us. So what will happen? The white blood cells found in our bloods, they will be making antibodies. They will be forming antibodies. Anti to whom? Anti to this foreign bodies. Getting it now? So they have now formed antibodies to fight against those bacteria, Getting it or not? So the next time when the same bacteria enters the person, now it would be having antibodies to fight against that bacteria. Are you guys getting it or not? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The antibiotics that we eat, what are those basically? The antibiotics, they are basically used for destroying the bacteria or curing the infections. Yeah. So it's in the same manner, right? So if the body itself creates a antibody, if the human body itself prepares an antibody to fight against a bacterial infection, that is simply the antibody. While if
Sir, but
the
what if there are less white blood cells in our body?
exactly, if they are if they are very lesser amount of white blood cells as compared to red blood cells, you will see they are quite lesser. Thereby the immune system will weaken down right now. So
Sir,
thereby you have to take antibiotics then.
so sir, they'll produce white blood cells.
While the antibiotics are being provided now, so they help in the production of white blood cells so that it could fight the microbial infection. So let me
So
sum it up.
basically, we
Yeah.
can't like. So basically, we can't transfer white blood cells as we did for the platelets, right?
White blood cells transfusion. No, I don't think your white blood cells transfusions are done. No, because the thing is they are already way lesser than the red blood cells right now. Okay, and if they were to be transported, then the person from whom white blood cells are being taken, he might be having trouble then. Okay, now. So what basically happens? Their function is like if you were to see usually how many white blood cells are there in the blood. In an average adult, it's somewhere between 4,500 to 12,000 white blood cells are there, right? Per microliter, per microliter, for 4,500 of 11,000 or 12,000 white blood cells are there, right? So this is the normal value of the white blood cells found in the human blood, and it might actually vary from person to person, but that is a normal count, right? So if you were to already take it out from a person's blood, um, then that person will be having problem. Then that person will not be vulnerable to different type of he will be vulnerable to develop different type of infections, right? Okay now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sir,
So let's, yeah.
sir, and how are platelets being transferred? How
Uh,
can
we
they
will
be transferred?
we'll be discussing that also. First, let's quickly summarize this. Okay now. So the different things which we studied about it, that they help to fight against the infection. Also, there was another name for white blood cells called as leukocytes also. Okay, so we could be adding that here as well, called as leukocytes. Next thing we talked about is that it eats the germs of bacteria, right? Like the bacteria. The normal count is 4,500 to 12,000 white blood cells per microliter. Getting it or not? Now, Sundar, you tell
Sir,
me.
I didn't understand like what a 4,500 is equal to 12,000.
Look
I
here,
didn't understand that.
like if you were to like you have different units of volume, like there is liter, there is microliter. Yeah, so microliter is simply a unit. Okay, if you were to have 1 microliter of blood, then thereby you will be having just 4,500 to 15,000 12,000 white blood cells in it. So when you study about whenever you study about the count of white blood cells or red blood cells, it's not like the total number of that type of cell found in the human body. No, it's not like that. You measure it in terms of microliter now. See, whenever we have the white blood cells or whenever we have the blood test, so the person who does the blood test, he just takes a sample of blood from, right? It's not like he will take 1 or 2 liter of blood from the body, right? Understand this thing. The person, whenever we get the blood test done, so there just a small sample of blood is taken, right? And then when the test is done, no, the amount of whether it's white blood cells or platelets or red blood cells, it is represented in terms of microliter. Microliter is what? If you were to have 1 millionth of a liter, 1 millionth of a liter, that is called as microliter. Getting it or not?
Yes,
Hope you
sir.
guys hope you guys are getting it. Huh? So in just 1 microliter, 4,500 to 12,000 of white blood cells are found. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Chikrika, normal, if you were to talk about lifespan of white blood cell is somewhere between 13 to 20 days. Between 13 to 20 days. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. And also, like whenever the blood report comes, whenever you have the blood test done, so there also you when you see now how many red blood cells are there, usually somewhere around 4.5 to 5.5 million red blood cells are there in per microliter. Yeah, so remember this thing that the test whenever we have the blood test done, so there by the count of the white blood cells or the red blood cells or the platelets, they are done in terms of microliter right now. Hope you guys have no confusion so far. Yeah, if there's any, please do let me know. I suppose this antibody part you guys are having confusion in this. Huh? You guys are getting
No,
this
sir.
thing or
Zero.
not? Is that clear?
For me, it is, sir.
Sundus, what about you?
Yes, sir.
That is clear. Oh, okay, good. So antibiotics, one, it is being naturally produced in the human body, or you could be taking it orally as well, right? For example, the antibiotics that we take, the medicines that fight the bacterial infection in people as well as in animals as well. So they basically do what? They will be doing basically what? Like uh, you have different type of antibiotics, like you have erythromycin, that is an example of antibiotic. So they basically kill the bacteria, also helps to promote the growth of white blood cells as well. Now, moving on to the blood platelets. So blood platelets are what? They basically look like this. Have a look at the diagram first. See the white blood cells. Sorry, the platelets. Huh? Do they have got a fixed shape? Yeah. Yes, Sundus?
Um,
No. Their shape are, they are having an irregular shape. Also look at the size comparison of the platelets as compared to the red blood cells and white blood cells. They are in tiny fragments, right? Okay.
sir, I heard that platelets are like they're mostly manufactured in the in our bone marrow, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So the platelets now, they are mainly manufactured in the they are mainly formed in the bone marrow. That is correct. Okay. First thing about the blood platelets are, they are small irregular shaped cells, right? Okay. Second thing, as you were saying, Chakrika, they are formed in the bone marrow. Okay, they are formed in the bone marrow. And third thing about the blood platelets are that they are colorless. They don't have any color. Okay, so they are colorless. Fourth thing about them is the blood plates, as Sundu was mentioning, that it helps in clotting of blood. Okay, so it will be helping in clotting of blood also. By the way, which vitamin helps in the in context of vitamin? Which vitamin helps in the clotting of blood? By the way, yeah, which vitamin helps in blood clotting? Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin K. Yes, it's the vitamin K. Okay, so vitamin K
Okay, sir.
also, note this fact that vitamin K helps in blood clotting. Okay. By the way, one of you, you guys also tell me in which kind of food we have, we get to see like the availability of vitamin K. Which food consists of vitamin K? Yes,
So like they're like fat soluble vitamins, right?
vitamin K.
Yes, sir.
Vitamin K. That I will have to look into. I think yeah, they are. I think they are fat soluble vitamins.
Like if they're maybe like in greeny vegetables, greeny leaves.
Exactly. You have greeny vegetables. Okay, like the broccoli, spinach. Okay. It is also found in a kiwi as well. Cabbage leaves. Okay. These are some of the examples. It is found in cucumber as well. Okay. So vitamin K helps in the clotting of blood, or also we see like it helps the wounds to heal as well. Okay. Cabbage is there, lettuce is there, broccoli is there. Then you have spinach as well. Kale is also there, right? So these are some of the
Sir,
examples.
it helps in stopping of clotting the blood, right?
Exactly, it helps in stopping of clotting of blood, right? If thereby someone is having deficiency in vitamin K, so thereby the blood will not clot in them, right? So it might occur in babies as well. So when babies have this problem, no, when their blood does not clot, so they would also be basically wound, blood will be oozing out from the excreta as well. Okay, now.
So, sir, why is vitamin K needed again?
Yeah, why is
Vitamin K needed again
vitamin K is needed for the clotting of blood? Okay,
to
it is
stop
needed
the blood from clotting.
to stop the blood from clotting.
Oh, okay.
Getting it now? Okay, and there's a like whole different mechanism also, like how it basically functions. So that is a different thing. You have to understand that at a very at a micro level. Getting it now? So those are different things. Like it forms a different type of chemical reactions and chemical chains formed there in order to stop the blood flow. So we are not getting right there. Okay, now. Anyways, let's get back to what we were saying and discussing. So we were talking about blood platelets. There are different functions performed by it. One of them is clotting of blood also, right? Now, if the platelets are not present in the blood, what then? If the platelets are not present in the blood flow from the cut or the wound will not stop. So thereby there will be excess amount of loss of blood, which
Yes,
may be very fatal to the persons, uh, or it
like
might lead
we'll
to
have
death
bleeding,
as
right?
well. Yeah,
Like it bleeds, right?
exactly. The person will keep on bleeding, right? In fact, if the proper treatment is not given or the wound is not sealed, a person might die from the blood loss also. Yeah.
So,
So
sir, we need
yeah.
like blood. So, I mean, platelets are mainly needed when a wound is present, like when a wound is there in the human body, right?
Like
Like we
usually,
need platelets more for that if a person is injured.
uh, like as we see, there are different functions of different components of the blood. Yeah. So the prime we here the functions which you're talking about now, we uh, study it in terms of as if it's the primary function performed by it, as it's the secondary function. Yeah. Along with the prevention and stopping the bleeding, there could be other functions performed by the platelet as well. While this function, clotting of blood, it's the primary function of the blood platelet. Okay, now this is the primary function. Okay, getting it
Okay,
or
sir.
not? Yeah, it could be for functioning of other functions as well, right now. So that is a primary function of it. Okay, and then there's how do we separate it from the blood, right? Like the platelets are transfused into the blood as well. If the platelet count lowers down in a person, then it has to be um, provided to that person. So there's a process that is called as plate pheresis. What do we call that as? Sorry, platelet pheresis. Okay, platelet pheresis. So it is the standard procedure. It's the procedure in which the platelets are separated from the blood. Getting it or not? Okay. So basically, what happens in order to remove platelet from a person, a needle will be placed in the arms of the person, right? And the blood that will be flowing through the needle, it will be flowing into a machine. Okay. And then via that machine, basically, plate pheresis is being done. Hope you guys are getting it. Just know
Can you
this.
repeat again?
Just know the name of the process. Basically, the process is done in this manner that from each arm of the person, a needle will be inserted. Okay, now, and the blood will be taken out from why that needle. It will be going into a tube. Getting it now, and then into a tube. It will again go into the centrifugation machine. It will again go into the machine where centrifugation will be done, right? And thereby plate will be separated from it. Getting it or not? Is that clear to you guys or not? Just
Yes,
like
sir.
you were separating, just like you were separating plasma from blood, no? Huh? In the same manner, okay, it can also be done. Yeah. So, first of all, blood will be collected, right? Either you will be collecting it in a blood collection pouch, blood collection polythene. There's a polythene in which basically blood is collected. The polythene is such that the conditions inside the polythene is very sterile, meaning that it is free from contamination. So blood will be separated from it, and then it will again go to in the centrifugation machine where the blood will be spinned. It's basically spinned, right? And then basically plasma will be separated from it. Hope you guys are getting it. Okay, so this process is also called
Yes.
as PRP in short. Okay, PRP. Yeah, any confusion so far? So do remember the different functions performed by the blood platelet. Also about its characteristics also. It's formed in the bone marrow. It is colorless, having irregular shape. They are small in size, helps in the clotting of blood, and the process via which blood platelets are separated from the blood, that is called as plate phases. Okay, it's the same as the separation of plasma is done from the blood. Now, overall, if I were to ask you guys about like what are the functions being performed by the blood so far, it is carrying different type of substances, like the digested food is being transported by the blood. Yeah. So where does the complete digestion of the food take place, by the way? Where does the complete digestion of food take place? Hello?
Sir, in the small intestine.
In the small intestine. So it will be carrying the digested food from the small intestine as well, right? So the blood carries the digested food from the small intestine, carries water to all the different parts of the body. By the way, in which part of the human digestive system water is separated, and what organ do we have? What type of special structures are there in the intestine in order to absorb the water from the food? Yeah,
So villi.
villi. Very good. So these are micro finger-like projection um, found in the inner linings
Inner
of the
lining.
small intestines as well as in large intestine also. So where does water absorption take place on those and Chakrika?
Sir, in the small intestine and in the villi.
In the large intestine, especially whatever water is left in the food now. So that water is absorbed while the food goes into the large intestine. Okay. Well, the
Okay, sir.
complete digestion has already taken place while it's still in the intestine. When it goes into the large intestine, their water is absorbed. Also, one more thing we left here about the normal count of platelet. So, the normal count of a platelet in adult person ranges from 1 lakh 50,000, 1 lakh 50,000 to somewhere around 4 lakh and 50,000 or 4.5 lakh. Okay, 1.5 lakh to 4.5 lakhs. Again, in which unit?
Micro.
1.5 to 4.5 per microliter, mcl per microliter of blood. Is that clear? So if a person is having platelet count lower than the 1 lakh 50,000, right? So that is not normal, and then the person might be having trouble, right? Okay. So the
Okay.
trouble would be what? What problem the person might have?
It plate to
He will stop bleeding.
Uh,
It basically
it won't
uh,
prevent stopping the bleeding.
plate to that.
exactly
That's what I said.
correct. Okay. Also, what happens now? Also, if the in this case, also what happens now? For example, if the person suffers from a low blood, if the count of platelet is very low, there could be internal bleeding also, right? Inside the body
Yes, sir,
also
like in
there
the
could be
brain,
bleeding.
right?
In the brain as well. It could be in different organs as well. Right. So it could be very problematic getting it now. Okay. All right then. So that's it for today. We will be meeting in next class then. Whatever facts we have discussed so far, do revise them. I will be taking a small test in the next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay then.
Okay, sir.
That's it for today.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.